What's going on, guys? Rods Over Bricks here. So today I'm fixing some plumbing. I heard a water leak last night and dug it up this morning and cut out the pieces that I know are going to fit. Luckily I was able to unscrew, and I had an elbow already to fit the other side. So I went to Home Depot, found a piece that fits down there, and I have an elbow that's going to go on that corner here. All we got to do is build a bridge using some of this stuff. So what I like to do first is mock everything up. And I'm not worried about keeping everything all clean at this point. I'm just kind of scabbing it together, seeing if the lengths are all good. Now these joints here that you see in the middle of the screen, those are really nice. Same thing with the bottom down here in the bottom of the hole. These pieces just kind of come together with a little O-ring in the middle, and that way you can unscrew it and take it apart in the future. So from here, I'm just kind of mocking everything up, just using some tubing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt together or screw together these unions and make them relatively tight. I like to build everything with these unions tight and then just kind of mock up everything thereafter. You don't want to glue anything with these unions loose, otherwise they may not line up. So now that we've got just about our plan worked out right here, looks like it's going to be pretty darn good. So at this point, I'm going to take a Sharpie and just mark out where everything is going to be clocked. It's not really a necessary thing to do, but I like to do it. And once everything's all marked off with a Sharpie, and we have our whole thing built here, we can then go ahead and take it all apart and start putting the Teflon tape on it. Now for the Teflon tape, I always like to wrap it in the same direction that you're going to tighten it with. And then once that's all said and done, I just like to break it off. You don't need to cut it with scissors or nothing. And then I like to kind of screw it into my hand. That way, like the softness of your flesh kind of pushes the Teflon tape into the threads. From there, I'm going to go ahead and just screw that in hand tight. And before I put a wrench on it, I'm going to go ahead and take another little piece of the next piece that fits inside there and just thread it in loosely. That way it's not just the pipe wrench won't crush the first joint that you're screwing together here. Then I'll take this piece back out. From there, I'll go ahead and Teflon tape the second piece. And these are just a little, from threaded to tubing. I had to go up a couple sizes or down a couple sizes, depending on which way you're looking at it, to go from the 1.25 down to 3/4. So once that's Teflon taped, I'll go ahead and just tighten this by hand. And then I'll take just another piece of PCV pipe without gluing it in, just to make sure that the hole is filled, because when you tighten it with the pipe wrench, it's really squeezing on it hard. And I'm not tightening it all that much. I'm probably only going to maybe 10 foot-pounds, 12 foot-pounds, something around there. You don't have to be very precise. Now with the rest of our pieces all laid out, and wherever I cut them, I'm going to go ahead and just take some sandpaper and make sure that all the little fuzzies that you see inside the tube are no longer there. You don't really want that inside your drinking water. And you can see here my pipes need a little bit of cleaning. There's some moss growing inside there. So anyways, we're going to take our primer, and you really can't use too much of the primer. I'm not a plumber. I'm a mechanic by trade, but I've always been told that you really can't use too much of this primer or glue, and this is how I've been repairing pipes for years, and it's been just fine. So once that primer has set up for a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and take the glue, and again, can't use too much of it. Just make sure that you're working over a space that you don't mind a lot of the glue dripping, because it makes quite the mess. Now with that said, the most important thing I think is that when I push these two pieces together with the glue, I push them in and then I twist them about 90 degrees or thereabouts. You don't want to just push it straight in, nor do you want to twist it a whole bunch. That way, if you do have like a little burr inside the tube and it scrapes off the glue, when you rotate it, this little 90 degree or thereabouts amount, that glue kind of smears everywhere inside. And I think that's a really big, tip. That's how I've always done it, and it works, so I'm going to keep on doing it that way. Now over here, it'd be best if I used two hands, but I forgot my tripod, so we're just going to kind of let the pipe wiggle around. Now we're going to take more glue and just kind of make 1 or 2 rounds, and it's dripping quite a bit. I mean, there's probably a good solid teaspoon getting on each joint. And I push it in and twist it nice and slowly, and that's it. Make sure our clock marks line up. Now this is the last piece we need to build our bridge. It's going to go right there in the middle. Now I'm going to put the long pieces in first before putting that screw together union. And I'm going to glue those pieces in and twist. Now the union here, you want to make sure that you don't get too much glue on the inside because it still has to come out. Now this union is relatively tight by hand, and I want to glue it in while it's tight. That way I know that everything's sitting flush, because if the union is off by a couple of degrees, it will not seal very well. And luckily, the pipe in my hands right now, it's detached from the wall, so I have some room to flex. You may have to kind of build it with the union in 2 pieces so you can slip them into such a tight area. But with that, both ends of the pipes are glued, and I'm going to slip the union over both of them and then just give it a nice little twist. That way they both ends get a 90-degree turn or thereabouts. And that is just about it. Now from here, I'm going to let it sit for about half an hour. And then we're going to go over here to your well switch and go ahead and turn it back on and watch your pressure gauge. Now my bladder tank and my water system typically runs at about 75 pounds. I don't know if that's high or low. Like I said, I'm not a plumber. I just do this stuff because it needs to be done. The house is 40 years old. Now from here, I'm just gonna let it sit with the water on for a while. I'm not gonna bury the hole just yet. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep a good eye on everything. And it looks like some water drips here, but that's just the glue dripping down the pipe when I glued it all together. All right, well, the water's been on for a while, and I guess my pressure is lower than I thought it would be. We're only running at about, what is that, about 35 pounds. And I have some plywood over the hole here. I have some dogs and want to make sure they don't fall into the hole. But after a few hours, we are looking really nice and dry. It's still muddy. I mean, that's a lot of water that was all inside this dirt. Well, after that, all you got to do is just take all that dirt and put it back inside the hole. Hope this helps.